Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Faculty of Humanities and Education's virtual Open Day and to the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. My name is Nicole Huggins-Bucco, and I am the Publications Manager in the Marketing and Communications Office at the St. Augustine campus. I will be performing the duty of host this evening, navigating you through our proceedings, and I will be assisted from time to time by Mr. Jessel Murray, Deputy Dean, Distance and Outreach Unit of the faculty. I know some of you are parents, guardians, siblings, and we have some teachers, and of course, our future students. Thank you all for taking the time to join us this evening and for giving us the opportunity to share more about this great West Indian tradition called the UWI, and more specifically, our Faculty of Humanities and Education. You may submit questions during this live session using the chat box. Be sure to let us know where in the world you're zooming in from, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, one of our sister Caribbean territories, or further afield. So let's get started. Here's an idea of how this evening's program will flow. We will begin with brief remarks by the Dean of the faculty. Then we'll move on to learning a bit more about humanities and education, the programs of study, and what it's like to be part of the faculty, after which we'll transition into the Q&A section. To start us off, I invite Dr. Heather Cato, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, to welcome you to her faculty. Dean Cato.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say a very warm welcome to the Faculty of Humanities and Education, better known to us as FHE. I want to start by thanking all of you for your interest in our faculty. We hope you choose us as your home for the next phase of your academic development. Some of you have planned this journey for years, and it will go exactly as you planned. Some of you are not too sure about exactly what you want to do. That is also fine. What is clear to me is that you are all moving forward, and this is a critical step in your journey. This is where it all begins, by simply getting access to information and getting your questions answered. This is where you meet those of us who will help you along the way and give you a feel of what we hope will be your new home. This academic journey will be different from the ones you've had before. Learn to embrace the new and the challenges. This academic journey will be full of turns and twists. Learn how to keep on track when the road seems full of surprises. This academic journey can end at various destinations. Explore all the possible destinations and stops. Don't just end up somewhere. Remember, however, that this is a journey that you cannot do without reading, without researching, without creating, without innovating, without debating, without interacting with others, and yes, sometimes without even falling down and picking yourself up. Understand that these are really the ultimate sources of true self-empowerment. Enjoy it. This is how you become a game changer. There's good news. The journey is not one that you have to do alone. It is interspersed with supportive structures and people. Avail yourself of them. If nothing else, I want to ask you tonight to own this journey as yours. The one thing I do know is that it's going to shape the person you ultimately become. Now, I must confess that this journey is not just about you. It is also about us. We have a very selfish interest in your journey. We are personally invested as your lecturers, as administrators, as your advisors, and we hope to become your mentors. I really think that we enjoy graduation and prize giving more than our students. It is moments such as those that we work for. So join us at the Faculty of Humanities and Education. We are looking forward to meeting you, and we are counting on you to change this world. We have two schools, the School of Humanities and the School of Education, with 6 different departments and units. Unleash your potential. Hone innovative approaches to our development challenges. Value the wisdom that can only come from the study of the human sciences. Become the new leaders of tomorrow. So, how do you change your game at FHE? I have to remind you that we created the game. This is where any game should start, the human sciences. We are the foundation for our Caribbean civilization. We have created the Caribbean dimensions of history, literature, language, and teacher training. We have built a reputation of excellence. We have created the Caribbean-centric methodologies and theories. At FHE, you can specialize in the traditional human sciences. This has been our strength from the very conception of the faculty. Secondly, we also have a new face of FHE. We have expanded both the game that we started and the players that are needed. Apart from the traditional disciplines, you can unleash your creativity in new areas. The creative, festival, visual, and performing arts. Our film unit, these are the heart and soul of every nation. They provide insightful new mirrors into ourselves. We have also introduced new tools to effectively navigate our societies today: communication studies, cultural studies, specialized areas in education. We have a third space, aligned FHE. We don't just change the game for our benefit. We make game changes that benefit our society, especially the most vulnerable among us. As we strive to align ourselves to the needs of our community, we also have streams of studies that are best described as applied humanities: speech and language pathology, special education, cultural and heritage studies, sign language interpreting. We are probably the most active faculty on campus. Performances, exhibition, film festival, conferences, study abroad programs, a center for language learning. Expose yourselves to Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and several other languages. I leave you with the thought that the future of our nation and region depends on you. No pressure. As Caribbean people, there is no better place to be. We are ranked #1 in the Caribbean, and yes, that is good. However, I truly believe that we are #1 in the world when it comes to the development of Caribbean perspectives and unleashing the creativity and innovation in Caribbean people and in our societies. Join us for the next 2 hours when we will share the best of FHE with you. Thank you. Over now to our moderator.
Thank you, Dean Cato, for setting the stage for this evening's session and for those really inspiring words about the faculty and the exciting future our prospective students can create. I'm happy now to introduce you to Mr. Jessel Murray. He's the Deputy Dean, and he'll present some of the highlights and interesting facts about the faculty. Mr. Murray?
Well, thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Dean. I think the Dean took everything that I was going to say, cubed. So here am I thinking, so what do I say to people about coming here to the FHE at the University of the West Indies and to be, as he has put it, to be a game changer? What I would say, and I'm following what the Dean said, is that your life here is going to be transformative. You transform our lives, we will try to mentor and transform your lives, because the Dean says our country and our region needs you. And we are going to transform your lives as you will transfer ours, because students do this for us, across 6 excellent departments. And in a moment, you will hear from each of those departments, the heads who will detail the types of programs. And then later on, and I want you to alert people, if they're not watching yet, your guardians, your parents, friends, teachers, tell them that if they're not watching yet, use your cell phone, message them and tell them, we're also going to talk about careers. Really important you know about the studies, but it's important that you know about your careers, and you will hear also some of the persons who have come through and will talk about their own careers and how they were impacted here. What the Dean has said, there's a great amount of diversity in our faculty. Recently in a meeting, one of our faculty persons asked if we could have one student represent the point of view of all of the students in the faculty. And I said, lovely idea, but no. We are so diverse. In fact, we're even diverse by location. If you join, and we hope that you will join the Faculty of Humanities in Education, you will, believe me, you will discover this campus. When we start on, the dean has spoken about, there's the School of Education, which is located in the west of the campus, just outside the main gates. There's the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, which I have to say is located to the utter north of the campus. And then there's the film unit, which is located on the east. And then we have the departments of modern languages, the literature and communication studies, and history, which is located right in the center of the campus under the what we call the famous FHE clock. Join us at that clock, but join us in all those places and discover the campus and discover our diverse programs. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like you to imagine yourself, as the dean has just said, we have diverse ways of reaching you. We ask you to immerse yourselves in our activities. And what I'm going to ask you now is to look at this video reel, which is coming up, where you and look at yourself and say, I'm going to be a part of this. I see myself learning, doing, and just enjoying myself through the next, whenever I choose to come, and from however long that I am going to be here. Take a look at the diversity of opportunities at FHE. Yes, well, I hope that you have enjoyed that short immersion of life. This is going to be your life at the Faculty of Humanities in Education. Learning, game-changing, transforming us as we transform you. Join us at FHE. We take you back now to Nicole Huggins-Bucco.
Wow, Mr. Murray, thank you for that incredible presentation. I'm sure now our participants, they can see more than a bit clearly how dynamic the Faculty of Humanities and Education is, and that they're really making a step in the right direction by joining us here today. We still have a lot to cover. It may not seem like it because that presentation was so mind-blowing. So we're gonna continue, and we'll now be going to the heart of what I'm sure most of you came to hear about, the programs and what we have to offer at the Faculty of Humanities and Education, and how you can qualify to study at this faculty. As mentioned previously, the faculty consists of two schools, School of Education and School of Humanities. The School of Humanities is divided into different departments, and it's also home to the film unit. So our next set of presenters will each give brief overviews about the school, first the School of Education, and then the departments in the School of Humanities. So we're going to begin with Professor Jerome Delisle, who will tell us about the School of Education and what they have to offer there. Professor Delisle?
Welcome, welcome everyone. We're so glad to have you and to engage you in this conversation, because of course, you know, whatever profession you have, you must thank a teacher for it. Many teachers have really changed lives, consumed themselves to change our own lives. So teaching is primarily the career that we're focused on. We offer a number of programs at the certificate level. We offer a certificate in early childhood care and development. At the undergraduate level, this year we'll be offering the undergraduate degree, primary school teaching general. We have a whole series of postgraduate programs. This year, we are offering the Master of Education with a concentration in curriculum, the Master of Education in Inclusive and Special Education, the Master of Tertiary Education in Leadership and Institutional Effectiveness, along with the postgraduate diploma. That's a new degree aimed at higher education. And of course, we also have the Master of Arts in Leadership in Technical Vocational Education. So that's TVET. So it's a range of qualifications at the certificate, the degree level, as well as postgraduate degrees. We also have research degrees. We're pretty strong in that, both at the PhD and the MPhil. Education is so critical and so varied. So if you are making a decision to come to the School of Education, we have excellent lecturers and wonderful programs. We really enjoy having you. Let's go back now to the moderator.
Thank you, Professor Delisle, for that informative presentation on the programs offered in the really critical field of education. A reminder to our participants that we will be answering your questions after all of the presentations have been done in a question and answer segment. But in the meantime, please feel free to continue sharing your questions with us and your comments in the chat. We're going to move on now to the School of Humanities, and we're going to start off with the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, best known as the DCFA. And to tell you more, we have Mr. Louis McWilliams. Mr. McWilliams.
Pleasant good evening all the aspirants to coming to the university to look at and study the arts. I want to say welcome. And normally if I am in front of all, I say DCFA, and that's the cry of the Department of Creative and Festival Arts. So I want to just say upfront, we offer 4 degrees, 5 certificates. And I'll go through them so that you can have a sense of what we do, and then I'll talk some more about them. So 1, we offer certificate in dance and dance education and a BA degree in dance. The certificate in dance and education, it's an 18-month part-time program. We have the entry requirements. You should have at least 5 CSEC passes, including English, and you must complete an audition and an interview. Once you're successful, you're in. On completion of that certificate, once you have a B average, or you have done the minimum of the 2 subjects, plus an audition interview, you get in to do the full degree, which is a 3-year program. And these 2 programs have been in existence for quite a while, and it's a full offering. And we not only create dancers, but we create dance educators, dance historians, people who use dance in education. So that's the dance program. Then we have musical arts. Again, as I mentioned, we have certificate and the BA degree in music arts. With this certificate in music, it's even longer than the dance program. It's 2 years. You must have, there are 5 CXC subjects, including English A, at least grade 3 music theory, and a music audition. Music auditions are important. It gives your instructors, your lecturers a chance to see what you are able of and what your potential is. You also have the BA degree in musical arts, 3 years full time. I mean, these things can be done part-time also, it just takes you longer. Once you've had that B average in music, minimum of 2 CAPE subjects, and again, successful completion of an audition and an interview. And it's an interesting process again, and we could talk more about the kind of stuff that we have coming out of the musical department. Then we have theater arts. Inside of here, we have 2 certificate programs. Certificate in technical theater production, which is a 1-year part-time program. There's an interview. You have 5 passes in CSEC, and that happens. And we also offer a practitioner certificate in drama, theater, and education, which is for more students who are very interested in working in the front of the stage, looking at the use of drama and theater in education. Once you've completed this, you can go on to your BA degree in theater arts. It's a 3-year full-time program. And again, once you've completed either certificate, and I can also say the certificate in technical theater production can also put you on to do your BA degree in film. It's one of the prereqs for the film program also. I have to mention here too, we used to offer a degree in carnival studies. We have paused on that for a while, but the courses in the carnival studies program are still run, so that students who are doing either of our disciplines can still do courses from that carnival studies program, and one can even minor in festival studies. And a lot of our theater arts students, dance students, music students, visual arts students go on to do courses from within the carnival studies program, which is not offered as a degree, but very much the courses are offered inside of there. And then we have visual arts. Again, certificate, a 2-year program again. You have to present 10 portfolio pieces, and upon successful completion of an interview, you get on to do the certificate in visual arts. Once you've gone through that program again, you have to keep your average up. And once you have that minimum of 2 CAPE subjects, and you present, if you have not done the certificate, you present a portfolio of 10 to 15 pieces, and then you do an interview, and based on the results of that, you are inside of that. So we have a mix, and I can say the department is a place where you get young artists from all these disciplines coming together. And now that we are basically housed on the same campus, there's a lot of chemistry that happens. And one of the dynamic things about this unit too, I mean, the emphasis is not only on performance. The emphasis is also on education. And then sometime during your program, once you've done all of this, you can go on to do postgrad programs. We have 2, a diploma, postgrad diploma in arts and cultural enterprise management. And we also have the Master of Arts in creative design, entrepreneurship. So those are 2 of the postgrad programs that we offer that you can pick up on completion of any of your arts degree inside of here. Final thing I want to share with you, if you look at the screen, you see a number of posters, and we are very busy. We keep producing. You see Soul to Soul, Festival of Movement. Each semester, the dance unit produces the music production team also, lots of things. Out of the Box, Rampage, Bells of Christmas, the UE degree program, exhibitions, and then with our department, Festival of Plays, Festival of Seeds, our annual productions are things that you'll hear about. And then we have the Old Yard. The Old Yard is one of the things where we celebrate Carnival, and this program was recently acknowledged by UNESCO as one of the major teaching tools in the Latin American, right, the Latin American and Caribbean region. And we were featured as probably the only one from the English-speaking Caribbean that was featured in that innovative teaching practice. So this is just an idea of the kind of things that we do, and it's quite a lot, and we can talk more about it. I can answer more questions if you have, but it is a dynamic department, and I will welcome students to whatever discipline you're interested in, and if you're interested in more than one, come through and we'll share with you. Okay, so I hope that I have given you enough excitement, and I pass you over now again to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. McWilliams, for that very detailed presentation. And anyone who has attended any of the many DCFA performances and exhibitions over the years would be able to attest to the truly high quality of the work our graduates can produce and their significant contributions to local and regional arts and culture. So viewers, I hope that this information is really helping you to make a better informed decision and to help you along the way in choosing the UWI St. Augustine as your provider for tertiary education. Keep your questions going in the chat as we have departmental representatives sharing about their programs in the chat as well. So next we move on to the Department of History, and to tell us more about this department, we invite Dr. Sherry Ann Singh. Dr. Singh?
Thank you, Ms. Huggins-Bucco. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Department of History, I would like to extend the warmest welcome to our new and prospective students majoring or minoring in history, doing history courses as electives, or entering our postgraduate programs. As a department, we specialize in history, archaeology, diaspora studies, and heritage studies. Our members of staff are all accomplished and well-published academics with years of experience in researching, writing, and the teaching of history at the tertiary level. At the UWI, history is offered at both the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. At the undergraduate level, we offer courses in such areas as Caribbean history, Latin American and United States history, European history, heritage studies, digital history, archaeology, African history, Indian history, African and Indian diaspora studies, so a really wide range. Each course carries 3 credits, and a student reading for a major in history must do 30 courses over a 3-year period in order to graduate, out of which at least 12 must be history courses. Students can also do a minor in history, which comprises 5 level 2 and 3 courses. K passes are required for acceptance into the undergraduate program. However, consideration would be given to CSEC grade 1 and 2 for entrance into the program. We also have a very stimulating postgraduate program that offers 3 options: the MA, the MPhil, and the PhD in history. The MA is largely a taught program which spans a period of 2 years. Students are required to read 3-year-long courses and to write a research paper of between 10,000 and 15,000 words. Candidates applying to do the MA should hold at least a second-class honors degree in history or any other subject approved by the Department of History. The MPhil degree in history is a research-based program. Candidates for the MPhil will be required to read one of the MA courses and research and write a 60,000-word thesis on an approved subject. The department may accept candidates for the MPhil degree if they hold an upper second-class degree in history. The PhD degree in history is also a research-based one. PhD candidates are required to conduct research on a chosen area and to present a 100,000-word thesis on the chosen topic. This thesis must be deemed to be contributing new knowledge to the academic field. An applicant for the PhD will normally be required to register initially for the MPhil, but candidates who have performed exceptionally well at the MA program may be considered for direct registration into the PhD. In the Department of History, we encourage students to expand their university experience beyond just grades. We have a very vibrant history society, which we encourage all students to join. You can also join us outside of the classroom on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube, where we continue to engage history and contemporary issues in many exciting ways. The Department of History has just begun providing our services to anyone interested in having their personal, family, business, or institution's history researched and written. So I will end by saying that we in the Department of History appreciate your choice of history in such a rich and diverse academic mosaic at the UWI campus. We affirm our commitment to a student-friendly teaching and learning environment in meeting your academic, administrative, or special mentoring needs. Once again, welcome to the Department of History at the University of the West Indies. I'll now hand you back over to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. And I think it's clear that the conversations taking place globally at the moment show the importance of understanding and researching history from a variety of perspectives. So up next, we have Dr. Nicole Roberts, and she will tell us about the Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics. Dr. Roberts.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Welcome everyone, bienvenido, bienvenue à tout le monde. In the Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics, we offer a number of programs, the BA in Spanish, the BA in French, the BA in Linguistics, and also the BA in English, Language and Literature with Education, which is the ELLE. We offer also the Certificate in Speech Language Pathology and the Diploma in Caribbean Sign Language Interpreting. There are a host of minors that we also offer, and I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about the minors with anyone who might be interested in those programs. I would say in terms of modern languages and linguistics that the communication skills that are acquired in a languages degree is highly sought after by employers globally and across all sectors. In addition, one of the main attractions, if you will, of the modern foreign languages degree is the opportunity to study or to work abroad. Of course, COVID has dampened our spirit a little bit, but our opportunities abound, and we are certain that they will pick back up in the not too distant future. In terms of what can be done, what kinds of jobs can you access with a modern languages or a linguistics degree? Again, there are a host of options available to you as a graduate, from translating to interpreting, proofreading, communications, marketing, of course, teaching, English as a foreign language. Is so very important today. International aid work is so very important today, and international developmental work. And of course, there's programs such as the any of the service industries and using your language skills. So I'll end by saying in Spanish, venga, hoy más que nada hace falta una lengua extranjera. So today more than previously, and certainly across Trinidad and Tobago, you need a languages degree. Les esperamos en la Facultad de Humanidades y Educación. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. I won't embarrass myself by trying to reciprocate in any other language, but I will do this.
Muchas gracias.
To our participants, a reminder to keep sending us your comments and your questions in the chat as we move on to the Department of Literary, Cultural, and Communication Studies. And the presenter for this department will be Dr. Marit Ford, and she will tell us more about the Department of Literary, Cultural, and Communication Studies. Dr. Ford?
Thank you. And yes, it is a long name. Good evening, everyone, and greetings from the Department of Literary, Cultural, and Communication Studies, or LCCS, which is much easier. LCCS is for you if you are interested in how people make sense of our world through different kinds of cultural products, like fiction and poetry, plays and films, art, games, media, social media, or if you wish to learn how to interpret and analyze different kinds of lived experiences and social practices. Our programs help you sharpen your analytical skills so that you can read, interpret, and critique the world around you, become an informed and critical communicator, participate in public conversations, education, and policy making, and produce texts that entertain ideas as well as readers. We offer degrees in 4 different disciplines: communication, literature, cultural studies, and creative writing. For those of you who are interested in first degrees, we offer a BA in communication studies and a BA in literatures in English. You can also read for a minor in communication studies or literature or cultural studies or journalism. If you already have a BA, please consider our postgraduate degrees. We offer taught master's degrees as well as MPhil and PhD degrees in communication studies, cultural studies, and literatures in English. Writers, you are welcome to apply to our Master of Fine Arts, or MFA, in creative writing, where you can write your final manuscripts in either fiction or poetry. Artists, filmmakers, theatre practitioners, and musicians, you may be interested in our practice-based master's and doctoral degrees in cultural studies, where your degree is partly based on your artwork. You'll get more information on all these programs in the FHE, the Faculty of Humanities, and Education handbooks, which you can access on the faculty's website. And you can also email us if you have any questions. Our contact info is at the department's website. We'd be happy and excited to work with you. Welcome. And thank you, and back to Nicole.
Thank you, Dr. Ford, for that insight into the LCCS. You're correct, it's much easier. Our final presenter in this segment is Mr. Yao Ramasar, and he will be telling us about the exciting work being undertaken by the film unit. Mr. Ramasar?
Hi, welcome everyone to the UE Film Degree Program. We offer 2 degrees, one in film production and one in film studies. You can also do minor in film studies. You can do film production special or film studies specials, which requires some more credits. And you can also do double major. Now, how we roll, basically, you're gonna find this place incubates storytellers and people who tell stories about their stories. That would be critics and film scholars and so on in the film studies stream. We have traditional courses like directing, film producer, editing, cinematography, screenwriting and such. We also have Caribbean cinema, Indian cinema, cinemas of Africa, Latin American cinema, cinema and gender, and a lot of other, a whole arc of disciplines that equip future filmmakers to tell their stories with a great amount of panache and maturity and savvy and so on. And we tend to produce students who go on to make films and release them into local, regional, international festivals. We had just had a few students who got 3 students whose films came out of one of our classes last semester and now being accepted in film festivals. We have a number of major films coming out from our alumni. Feature films, they tend to do features quite quickly. And it's one of the few areas in the world where you can go from zero, because you don't have traditional subjects. And generally, you don't study like you do physics and chemistry and maths at O levels, at CXC and such. You start from scratch. But in 3 years, we tend to have people who are up to speed and actually making feature films at the BA level, which is one of the very, very rare instances in the entire world. And those feature films are not just quantitative, but we are now breaking ground in terms of world cinema culture and redefining narrative in this new world. And I'm very proud to say one of our classes, which is the final year class, for instance, called Capstone, the film they're making is out of a screenplay from our screenplay class. It's called Killing Columbus. And it's almost prophetic in terms of the themes in the film. There's tremendous sophistication, political sophistication in narrative. And a film like that, if they continue with it, is going to light up screens all over the world, literally. So there's a big things happen, you know. We encourage you to make a scene and take it everywhere. Now, one last thing I'd say, to be honest, it can be a very lucrative profession. Screenwriting, for instance, is one of the most portable skill sets in the world. Back in '89, when I was supposed to take up a writing job for The Simpsons and in Living Color, it was 9,000 US per week. So, and we are now in 2020. So, and stories are taken from everywhere. There's no barrier for you to take your screenplay or your directing skills or your production skills to any corner of the world and to be compensated quite handsomely for that. Although we do not stress necessarily a commercial outcome, we want you to learn how to make incredible films that are going to set the world on fire and just challenge people's minds and their imaginations. And of course, the soil is so fertile in the Caribbean, the new world, where we are really redefining storytelling and a new narrative. So it's a very exciting experience. And we tend to graduate complete filmmakers who can, from concept idea to editing to marketing and distribution of their films. One last thing, there's a very strong focus in the studies degree in Caribbean, Latin American film, and I would say ancillary film areas, which would be Indian African cinema, which is an ancestral thing. And it really gives our students an edge because, again, their storytelling, it comes from a deep reservoir of truth and history and becoming and being, and it manifests on the screen. And I think that's why the UWI film student is from St. Augustine is quite unique in the world. And that uniqueness is your edge in the marketplace of ideas, in the marketplace of imaginations. So come and join us and let's make a scene and tell our stories. And yes, make money. It's not a crime. Thank you and come on board. We look forward to having you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesar. This evening, we also have with us the faculty representative for the Student Guild, Ms. Michaela Regis. And Michaela will share with us her experience as a student with the FHE. Michaela?
Good evening, everyone. I will be sharing my experiences. Within FHE, what I first discovered, not only about myself and my work, but discovering the different departments and where they were located. It was certainly a fun ride, figuring out where each department was located outside of the main campus. But outside of these discoveries, I came to UWI with the aim of accomplishing 3 main objectives, which were attaining my first class honors, exposure, and networking. With regards to my first class honors, it wasn't an easy road, it still isn't. There requires a lot of work involved. I'm going into my final year, and it has not changed from start to now in terms of hard work. It really pays off. I am a full-time student, currently pursuing my degree in visual arts, and I would say that the majority of my days spent within UE, being a full-time student. And in between classes, there would obviously be several downtime moments, but it's those moments that you have to put in the extra work to get the desired results that you want in this degree or any degree that you choose to pursue. But that is not to say don't have fun. Certainly have fun at DCFA and within FHE. I would say we are one of the most exciting and fun faculties within the university. And I would say I definitely had and continue to have a lot of fun. The key to it is time management, balancing academic life and social life. And at times, one area may dominate the other, but you always have to remember to find the balance between both aspects. Another part that FHE has allowed me to discover was exposure. FHE provided the space required for me to grow and exposed me to many different mediums, styles, and persons within and outside of my field. And these opportunities may not have been afforded to me had I not been within the faculty. The lecturers, they continue to push me outside of my comfort zones and show me new things within my field and outside of it that help propel my art further. I would also say that both my peers and my lecturers are the persons I network with, exchange ideas with, continue to progress with. And in my 2 years, going on 3 years now at the university, it has allowed me to collaborate with many persons that I would not have expected to, and has led to many outside partnerships and partnerships within the degree itself. I was able to display many of my works, not only within my faculty, but outside to other faculties. And that would not have been made possible if it wasn't for me being part of FHE. So I would really encourage you all to join the faculty. It is a great experience and you'll remember it. You'll remember it for many years and speak of it fondly. I would like to hand back over to the moderator.
Thank you, Michaela, and best of luck with your studies. I'm noting that despite the hard work, you still managed to find the time to represent your fellow students on the Guild. And I want to point out to our participants that there are lots of exciting leadership opportunities and experiences that you can be part of while you're a humanities and education student on our campus. So there are campus clubs and lots of other campus activities. We strongly encourage you and all our students to get involved and experience as much of campus life as you can. So just before we get into the question and answer session, I'd like to invite Mr. Jessel Murray back onto the screen to give us a brief overview of some of the many career options that are available to the versatile graduates of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And some of them may surprise you. Mr. Murray? Mr. Murray, I believe your mic is still on.
Yes, I just realized that the mic was off in getting everything together for the spotlight on careers. I forgot my mic off, and my apologies. So this is what we've been talking about is about the spotlight on careers. And I hope that those of you all who are currently with us have called mommy, daddy, grandparents, guardians, other guardians, and say to them, see, this is why I want to do something in humanities and education. Because people sometimes and unfairly say, well, you know, quote unquote, what are you going to do with that? And believe me, my colleagues and I, and the students who are represented, who are already here, will say, we have a lot of that we can do. Earlier on, Professor Delisle said, everywhere you turn, and most important in life, is teaching. And he talked about the School of Education offers careers for preparation as teachers. Eventually, you may want to move on to teaching and administration as a vice principal, and then eventually as a principal. And you can and then there are other things that you can do, and there are many teachers who have then moved on to, let's say, positions in the Ministry of Education, where you're now doing things in terms of policy, curriculum officers, school supervisors, where you're planning policy, and you're doing research and evaluation, and a measurement officer, where sometimes you think of it as almost crunching statistics, but determining the overall viewpoint of where education is going to go. There are other things as well involving education. You can have employment with our national training agencies, our youth training and employment partnership programs. There are quite a lot of social programs catering to youth. And you will see this coming through all of our departments, which is work as a researcher and a consultant. Some of this can also lead you back into the University of the West Indies, and I know some of you probably have designs to come back here and to also be a lecturer at the University of the West Indies and other tertiary institutions, both within Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. Also as well, I mean, many of you all have done programs of, in fact, all of you all would have done programs through the Caribbean Examinations Council, whether it is the CSEC or the CAPE. And there's always work as a measurement officer, curriculum officer, to be an examiner itself. And sometimes you don't have to leave Trinidad and Tobago to be an examiner with CXC. So all of those are available through the guise of education. Mr. McWilliams was quite persuasive in talking about the diversity of his own programs. And actually, I'm also a member of that department as a musician. And within that, there are so many ways in which you can be part of the fabric of society, as Mr. Yao Ramasa said, and to be compensated and to have good jobs and rewarding ones. At the top of this list here, we have, there's dance, it's a dance, and with dance, there's also the other performing arts, there's musical arts, and as well, there's theater arts. And we just had our Gilda students representative talking about work within the visual arts. One can also, if you don't wish to be a performer alone or an exhibitor, you can also be an artistic director of a group. You can also be in dance, a choreographer. You can be, again, tying back to what you can do as a teacher. You can be a cultural officer. You can be an agent. And I'll stop there for a moment. One of the things that that we artists are learning to do much more, and when we talk about being an agent, is to develop our own entrepreneurial possibilities within the arts. One can be a professional dancer. Stage, video, film ties into film once again. One can be a fashion model. Again, one can teach. Mr. McWilliams spoke about the carnival arts, and within the carnival arts, one can also, as within any of the performance things, you can be a marketing and a PR specialist. You can be a festival event specialist. Yes, you can be putting on the fests. They're not on these days, but you can be doing these here. You can be an arts-based project specialist. You can be a researcher, and again, research is going to come up in almost every single one of our departments. And then you can be a trainer in, again, the business of the arts. Very important, and the University of the West Indies, as thinking of game changing, is asking us to also think of ourselves as entrepreneurs. And again, with that, you have entertainment industry journalist. Journalism is also part of what we do at the FHE, and writing on the arts or anything else is also important. Our Department of History, I think Dr. Singh has spoken about diplomatic work here, administration within history, curriculum development. Again, we've spoken about that within teaching and creative arts. You can be an anthropologist, an archaeologist. You can have work as a library science person. Yes, NALIS has places for you. You can be an archivist at NALIS and elsewhere, genealogist, again, researcher. Critically important throughout Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean, heritage tourism. That is something which you can both develop on your own or you can develop with other persons and programs, because we have a lot that persons outside our region are looking to take advantage, not take advantage, to take in. Also from the Department of History, you can think of being part of human resource. And again, as with so many of our programs, we can educate you to be a teacher or a lecturer. In the Department of Literary, Cultural, and Communication Studies, the LCCS, again, you will see education, research, but of course, there's so much that can be done with our media. Dr. Ford spoke about the creative writing, the MFA. You can be a part of many of our NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, where you are helping, not just waiting for policy, but creating policy, learning how to write grants, and funding your particular passion, and yes, and monetizing it as well. Corporate communications is just about everywhere and in every business within Trinidad and Tobago, every organization. Public relations. And then you can dovetail back into creative and festival arts to be an art critic. You can also be a part of the cultural and creative industries, publishing, public service, and then into the ministries of community development, culture and the arts, or the Ministry of Education. Lots of opportunities. As I've said before, start seeing yourself in those places as a result of the work in the FHE. Dr. Roberts spoke about modern language and linguistics, and she's, of course, teaching is a possibility. More than ever within Trinidad and Tobago, with our polyglot society, we need interpreters and translators. And in fact, at the University of the West Indies, we have a translation bureau. See yourself as part of it. We recently concluded at our Center for Language Learning training for flight attendants. Talk about persons who need training across the languages. Court interpreters, yes, needed everywhere. Dr. Roberts, that's her use of Spanish showed you that how critically important. We know that. There's copywriters, if you want to have a job in the foreign service. Again, university professor, including our jobs, is yes. Linguists, language education, audiologists. We offer diplomas and degrees in the speech language pathology. Then if you want to be in marketing across, proofreading, and again, archaeologists and anthropologists, just as in history. Sign language interpreting, and the University of the West Indies is very proud, and the FHE is very proud of the training that we offer, and then also as an editor and elsewhere. Finally, Mr. Ramasar spoke very persuasively about the film program and its affiliations in filmmaking and film studies, and careers in civil service include the Trinidad and Tobago Film Company, and we have affiliations with that, the Tobago House of Assembly Information Service, the GISL, the Government Information Service, and then any of our national ministries and related companies in the private sector need filmmakers and it ties back into the larger communications. But then there's local broadcasting, there's production assistants, director, producer, and of course, Mr. Ramasar spoke about the life that awaits writing. And then finally, we have affiliations with Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, Impact, and MAT, and other cultural organizations. All of these are available at the Department of Creative and Festival Arts. So I would say to you is, what I'm going to ask you now to do is to take a look at 3 sets of alums who are now going to show you how it has impacted, how their lives have been impacted by the FHE and the careers that they have chosen. Take a look.
My name is Lawrence Ardrew, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Heroes Foundation. When you join the Faculty of Humanities and Education, you're actually joining a family. And that family will be there for you whenever you are in need. I actually transferred into aviation from NATSI at the time, and I studied communication studies and the geography. It's a bit of a weird combination, and it was a little challenging to get together. But every single person and every single office that I visited at FHE was so willing and helpful in getting me on that path to achieve this dream. Geography and communications really help you understand the interconnectivity of people and the space and the place. And FHE provides you with this unique opportunity to interact and understand worlds of knowledge and worlds of experience from the people. People are at the heart of FHE. People are in the engine room.
Hi everybody, my name is Tremaine Lamy and I did a theatre arts degree and a communication studies degree at the University of the West Indies. I am currently employed at the Lion King in London as a singer, and I'm the children's director for the show here. I've been here for the past 8 years. Deciding to go to UE was the best decision I ever made for my career, hands down. It is. I mean, from the coursework that we covered, it was so extensive and so comprehensive from a theoretical and a practical point of view. You know, it exposed students to not only the local heritage that we have in Trinidad and Tobago in an in-depth way, but it also shed a light on a lot of international work and prepared students for that international environment, you know, if they were to go abroad and further studies or get work or whatnot. Lecturers that I met at UE, I mean, they are my present day mentors. And if it weren't for their guidance and their knowledge and going beyond the call of just tutelage, you know, I don't know where I would have been, because they were always there pushing and encouraging students and getting the best out of them. And they saw each student very individually, you know, and that's a beautiful thing with the arts. It's very personal and very energy driven, and so a lot of the lecturers there were able to specifically have a relationship with you that drew out your best abilities, and that encouraged me so much because I saw myself as an individual, and that is just due to, you know, lecturers like Jessel Murray and Louis McWilliams, you know, that have been so vital to not just my education there, but my career further on.
Hi, I'm Ronald, and this is Christiane interpreting. We are both graduate students here at the Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics. You know, the very first thing that people ask you when you tell them that you studied or you're studying linguistics is, what is linguistics? Or they ask, what do Caribbean linguists do? The short answer is that we study language. We study language structure, we study how people produce and learn language, we study the relationship between language and society, technology, culture, etc. But Christiane and I both came into our programs, our undergraduate programs, as foreign language majors. I majored in Spanish first, and Christiane majored in French first. Before my program, I was a teacher in a secondary school. I taught English and I taught Spanish. And Christiane, even while she was in her program, did a year abroad in France, teaching English as well. But when we did courses and fieldwork in linguistics, we were able to understand and name a lot of experiences that we had before. So before I came into the program, I had been in a courtroom where I worked as an interpreter, and I saw a man explaining something in French Creole while I was waiting for my case to be heard. And he was asked by the magistrate, who was not St. Lucian, to say it again, and he said it in English. But when he said it the second time in English, it did not represent what he had said in French Creole accurately. I did not understand what I had witnessed until I did Introduction to Language in the linguistic program here. Christiane had a similar experience. So she started off in foreign languages, but when she did field work in a deaf and hard of hearing community, she was informed by that. She was connected to that experience, and that is why she picked up, as I did, linguistics as a second major, and we are both now graduate students in linguistics.
In my everyday job here as a children's director at the Lion King, I'm able to conduct my work with a confidence because I was trained in that field because of the coursework that I covered during my program. It gave me so many tools and the knowledge to carry on my work in such an effective way. I am proud to be a game changer. I am proud to be you.
Well, I think earlier on you saw all the activities that students involved in. I'm hoping that you can see yourself in those activities. And then now you can see our 4 alumni, and I'm hoping that you are seeing yourself in their shoes, and what they have done here and how they transformed our lives and how we try to transform their lives, and how hopefully that you all will become where they are and be a game changer and be transformative. And I hand you back now to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. That was a really impressive video, and those testimonies. Yeah, people, if you're not hooked yet, I don't know what else, but you know what? We have more. We have more. So before we enter the Q&A section where we speak directly to the questions that you've been asking in the chat, and please keep those questions coming in. We just want to move on to some of the more general questions that we've been having as we've been having our open day sessions. And so one of the things that we want to highlight to our participants is that with regard to that common question about whether or not UE is going to be having classes in September, yes, we are planning to start our new academic year in September, but we anticipate that teaching will be done as a hybrid, a mixture of in-person and online instruction. The integration of on-campus teaching and online delivery will vary from one course to the next. So some will be entirely online. Others, particularly those that entail physical learning or exploratory activities, will offer a combination of online and on-campus activity. With regard to reopening of borders for regional and international students, the campus, like the rest of the country, continues to be guided by the local authorities on the reopening of the borders, and we continue to monitor how our students are affected by this. Additionally, all on-campus activities will be conducted in keeping with established COVID-19 protocols for public spaces, especially physical distancing and the wearing of face masks. We continue to be guided by the best advice of local health officials and adhere to government regulations to protect the health of our students, staff, and surrounding communities. In the chat, our moderator will also place key contact information for our halls of residence, our financial advisory services section, who can guide on any scholarships and bursaries, as well as contact information for the admissions team and the faculty. We have with us this evening on the chat Mr. Nigel Bradshaw from the undergraduate admissions team, and I would like to take this opportunity to invite him to share with you some of the details with regards to applications and some key tips on submitting your online application. Nigel?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Nicole, for allowing me to be able to come in now and represent Student Affairs Admissions. We at Student Affairs Admissions are responsible for everything undergraduate, especially the transition of students who are applicants to becoming enrolled students. This evening, I will be sharing my screen with you in just a bit. All right. I will be sharing the information about the step-by-step process that is required for undergraduates, for persons to become undergraduate students at the University of the West Indies. The entire process is 9 steps long. and it must be started sometime this week because we're closing it off at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, July 10th, 2020, the door will be closed and applications will stop for the undergraduate studies. So let's go through quickly what are now 9 steps in what used to be a 10-step process, which is in a process that is completely online at present. So it's very simple. Our website, sta.uwi.edu, easily found using any popular search engine, allows you to begin step 1. You go to the admissions page. You will be able to easily find it if you have not typed in this specific URL that you're seeing under step 1. You can easily find it in the menu box, blue menu box. Under admissions, you go to first-time applicants, and the menu is on the left and starts the entire thing. So you go into undergraduate, you choose undergraduate, and notice it says carefully read your application instructions. I would like to implore persons to read the application instructions, invest 15 to 20 minutes to do so that your application will be flawlessly done in 5 to 10 minutes thereafter. Let's continue to step 2. Step 2 allows you to set up your personal account. This account is very important because it will allow you to be able to continuously interact with the University of West Indies and see on a day by day what is happening with your application. Setting it up requires that you create a very simple login ID and a simple to remember personal identification number, your PIN. Please remember, you want to write down or save this information in a place where you alone will know how to find it. No one else knows how to access your website. Persons in admissions, your application portal. Persons in admissions only process the information, but we do not share or divulge any information that is used by an applicant. Step 3. When selecting your application type, now it's very important to ensure prior to doing your application what is available as a full-time program or as a part-time program. I can easily suggest to most persons that many of the programs that you'd hope to read for will be full-time. However, full-time at our campus does not necessarily mean that all the classes start at 8 in the morning and would complete at 4 o'clock. We do allow some opportunities in some of our programs for students to have flexibility to choose classes. I did see in the chat that Dr. Marek Ford was saying there is a move to have as many classes as possible to cater for our employed persons, since they bring a lot to the classroom in terms of prior experience. So you can anticipate that some classes will fall at a time that is convenient for working persons. Step 4. Your personal details are required for the application. All your demographics, name, first name, surname, your email address, your physical address, those persons that you would want as your first form of contact, just in case we have to get in contact with someone associated with you. And thereafter, your academic information, beginning with what you have completed from secondary school. Right? So we know that some persons are applying for certificate or diploma programs. Those persons will enter information about what they intend to complete at CSEC if not yet completed high school. Those persons who are using CAPE or certificate or diploma programs, you would indicate the institution. You're allowed to select the institution that you are completing the relevant programs at for your entry into the specific areas of study that you'd like to go into. And that's when you move on to step 5. Step 5 allows you, as you notice, to choose up to 4 undergraduate programs that you might select from. Now, in fact, you might want to understand why 4. The Faculty of Humanities and Education has a laundry list of programs that you can apply for. And many persons might have already heard about a large number of different things that they're interested in, and you can choose any of them and list them in any order that your heart allows you to be able to divulge. All we say is that at the end, even though you might be able to receive more than one offer to the programs that you have applied for, come September, when it's time to register, you must select at least one. You may be able to select more than one if you want to double major. That's something you'll get into down the road. Step 6. Now, previous to step 6, through steps 1 to 5, you're allowed to be able to make changes, enter information that you may have overlooked, etc. Once you reach step 6 and you hit the submit button, the application is complete at that time. If it is that there are changes to still be made to your application, we at Student Affairs Admissions can make those changes to you. Sometimes persons may want to change the order of the programs that they've applied for. They may also want to change the order in which they have the programs that they've entered. They may want to switch that around. We recognize people to be human beings and we allow all of this. You just need to make contact with us to be able to let us know what changes you want to make. However, you are not allowed to make changes to your application after July 10th, 2020. So all of you who have already have applied, if you want to make any changes to your application, you have to do it before 4 o'clock on Friday, this Friday coming up, right? My email address is in the chat for persons that want to be able to make contact with me for questions about this and anything else. Step 7, very important that you declare the information that you've entered into the application with our confirmation receipt. A prompt comes up on the screen for you to understand how to be able to secure the confirmation receipt, as well too as other information associated with the application that you've made, how to be able to log in and track, how to be able to, just in case you've forgotten your password and that type of stuff, that page that comes up will have lots of information on it. But right now at step 7, the most important information that you'd want at that time is to be able to download, print, and complete your confirmation receipt. This document requires at the end that you sign and date the information entered. It takes very little time to read it through and complete it. Now, you heard me say that we have 9 steps in our application process. Step 8 no longer exists in the application period. That is because we have decided to waive the application processing fee. From May 29, 2020, no one is required to pay our application processing fee anymore. So step 8 no longer exists. Step 9, emailing your supporting documents. Emailing your supporting documents allows for persons not to have to physically encounter us anymore at the campus as used to be done previously. Some of our applicants that were the early birds that did their applications, they visited the campus to bring in their supporting documents. Now, those of you, because of our social distancing protocols and everything else associated with the pandemic that is taking place around the globe, we have allowed persons, our applicants, to email their supporting documents. Now, critical in this step, some of the documents that must be sent to us are certificates, birth certificates in particular, and academic certificates, CSAC, BGCSE, GCSE, IB, AP, whatever you're using to qualify, hopefully, for entry into certificate or diploma programs or bachelor programs. Whatever academic certificates you are going to use, please make sure they are either notarized by a notary public right here in Trinidad and Tobago or across the region, or they are certified by the last academic institution that you attended, the last academic institution that you attended. If it was a high school, if it was a community college, if it was the University of the West Indies open campus, whichever institution you last attended, please carry an original and a single copy of your documents to that institution to have them certified if you cannot visit a notary public to have the same thing done, or a commissioner of affidavits. We must have certificates copied and certified. Okay, so we move on to the last you notice at step 9, there are specific emails that you can send your supporting documents to. Either one of UG Apply or ADMIS. For undergraduate applicants, you can send it to either one. You don't have to send it to both. Right, and finally, step 10, track your application online. Using the ID and PIN you created at step 2, you are allowed to re-enter the application portal 3 weeks after making the application online and submitting your documents. Your application portal, as I said previously, allows you to be able to see all the information that you have entered. A record of it is stored there, and what is the status for your application. Now, things are slow moving at this time with respect to applications as they are made, right? What I ask persons to do is, please focus now on your academics associated, especially if you're doing CXC in the region. Please focus on your academics, and when these are finished, then you begin tracking your application no more than once a day. More than once a day might not necessarily be efficient, because if we do make a change to the application, it will be done once a day, right? It's a good idea, a good habit to form by just using the same time every day to log into your application and to ensure that there is something there or not. If there is not anything, please do not feel hard pressed. We are challenged by many of the protocols associated now with working remotely, and it is a learning curve for all our staff. But we intend to ensure that all our applicants do receive great information that will be pleasing to them about the programs that they have applied to, especially the students that are going into what I always describe when I visit schools and institutions around the Caribbean, the most exciting faculty of all of our 8 faculties at the University of West Indies, the Faculty of Humanities and Education. So, I am available for your questions 24/7, 351 days of the year, 14 public holidays in Trinidad and Tobago that I ask you to respect, and utilize the other days to be able to be in contact with me. I love answering your questions in 48 hours or less, and will continue to do so throughout the application period. Do continue to pay attention to everything we have to share with you this evening, and I will be answering continuously questions in the chat. Passing you back on now to my great friend, Nicole Hogan-Foucault, and I do thank you for listening. You take care. Good evening.
Thank you, Nigel. And just to reiterate that Mr. Bradshaw will continue to be on the chat answering questions, and also answering questions on the chat is Ms. Christy Smith. She's the Manager of Financial Advisory Services. That's an arm of the Division of Student Services and Development. And she will continue answering questions on the chat. So if you have any questions of a financial nature, please post them, and Ms. Smith will be more than happy to answer them on the chat. So now we're moving on to the exciting part, which is to answer all of the questions that you have that will be answered directly by the panel from the Faculty of Humanities and Education. After this session, you will receive an email from us that will share contact information for the faculty, so you can liaise with them directly if there are any additional questions or any additional matters that you would like to find out about. Now, some of these questions would have been responded to in the chat, but we are going to still share them live for the benefit of all persons on the call. So I'll read out the questions, and Mr. Murray, the Deputy Dean, will direct each of them to the relevant persons on the panel. So without much more ado, let's start with the Q&A. So we're going to start with a short question regarding the film program. Do I need to have prior knowledge of film to do a degree in it?
No, the answer is no. You have to have the usual typical entry requirements. The only people who are entering the program who need prior knowledge, people who are practitioners, and we waive the typical entry requirements, allowing them to they have to have 5 years minimum experience in the industry. They have to do an interview and potentially provide a sample of work and so on. But no, it's very difficult. Film, as I said in the earlier portion, typically you don't do like you have physics and chemistry or literature in secondary school. So basically most, if not all of our students come without any prior film formal and otherwise experience. What I said again was that we were able to quantum leap them from zero to pretty sophisticated productions in the 3 years. And that's, I think, one of the things I was saying we had an edge in, probably internationally. Within 3 years, to take you from having nothing in film to being able to produce, direct, write, edit, market, and distribute your own film internationally. So that was, to answer that your question in a roundabout way, no.
Thank you, Mr. Ramasa. So our next question has to do with sign language. Our next two questions deal with sign language and the speech language degree. First question is, what are the prerequisites for entering the diploma in Caribbean Sign Language Interpreting? And I'll do the second question one time. This person says, my interest is in the speech language degree. I now have a son who's autistic, and I realized that desperate need there is for a speech therapist. I don't have a science background. Will this be a problem?
I think Dr. Roberts. Is Dr. Roberts there?
Yes, I am here, Jessel. Thank you. Okay, so the prerequisites. The diploma really just requires the 5 CSEC courses, one of which must be English with a grade 1 to 3. We do ask that candidates have some experience with the deaf community, but it is not, it's not necessary. Working in through the diploma, you will get, you will have the contact with the community. So it would be an advantage, but if you have none, that's also okay. The science background for speech language pathology, it's not absolutely necessary, no. However, really a science background gives you a little bit of an advantage, I think, in linguistics. But it is not, it's not required to answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. The next questions deal with the DCFA. With regard to the dance program, what are the types of dances that are taught in the dance program? And the second question has to do with musical arts. Can you share more information regarding the requirements for the audition and interview for the BA Musical Arts Undergraduate Full-Time Program? What is the audition like?
All right, so Mr. McWilliams can go first about the dance, and I'll be happy to answer the musical arts. Mr. McWilliams?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Well, as I said before, we offer 2 programs in dance, the certificate and the degree. In the certificate program, we focus in semester 1 on Caribbean folk dance. Yeah, Caribbean folk dance, but we also look at the Caribbean dance history and dance education. In the second semester, we begin to look at fundamentals of choreography, where we explore a number of different styles. Teaching methodology, again, practical and teaching methods is very much theory and practice. Dance technique, performance, and then dance education too. And then we go on to a third semester where you do research, a research process, project, and then teach and practice. In the degree, the span gets a little more varied. We have Caribbean dance again, featuring. We really pay attention to Caribbean dance, but we also have a share of modern dance, ballet, Indian dance, and then there's the festival dance ensemble and the choreography classes where you are able to explore other forms of dance that come within the program. So I would say that it's wide ranging in terms of what we can do, and based on your interests, I am sure there's an element of that kind of dance inside of what you want to do with the dance program.
Thank you. And I'll take over from here, but the musical arts degree, of course, we're doing virtual auditions. It does involve a piece of choice. Generally, for the musical arts degree, we require a piece which is at least at the grade 5, preferably grade 6, grade 7 or above, on your principal instrument or on singing. Then we will also ask you to do, because we're doing this virtually, to submit a video where we ask you to speak about why we'd like to enter the program, your particular interests and passions in music, and perhaps thoughts about your future within it. But the audition part of it is playing a piece of music. Sending along a score would be helpful too as well. The minimum would be grade 5, but going grade 6, grade 7 and above would be even more helpful. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, gentlemen. So our next question has to do with the languages, or it could be a more general question. This person wants to know, do CLL courses add credits towards your degree? And for those who are listening who are not familiar, CLL stands for the Center for Language Learning on the St. Augustine campus.
I'm sure Dr. Roberts is going to jump in. Or you would not like to speak about the CLL?
I can jump in here.
Okay, Dean.
At the CLL, we have a range of courses. Some count towards your degree and some don't. So it depends on the specific course that you want to do. Some are for credit and some are NFC, not for credit. So they're a combination, and you get a choice as to whether you want to do it for credit or whether you don't want to do it for credit.
Thank you, Dean. The next questions, actually the next few questions, deal with the School of Ed. First one is, I would like to know if you can do special ed with an emphasis in testing and measurement.
Professor Delisle?
Yeah, sure. Well, you mentioned two specializations there. Special and inclusive education is one specialization. And of course, measurement is another specialization, measurement and assessment. We have both degrees actually on the books, but right now we're offering just the special and inclusive education. But I have a good answer for you as well. Within the special and inclusive education masters, there is at least 2 courses and a piece on assessment in special ed. And the other advantage in doing special and inclusive education with us, well, you have to be with us once you're in Trinidad, since we are the only ones who have that degree, is we also have a clinic, the psychoeducational diagnostic and intervention clinic. And their job, in fact, is to do diagnosis and assessment and intervention in this field of special education. Finally, it is possible, if you're talking about classroom assessment, you can always pursue your degree in special and inclusive education and also do an additional course, because we do have one of the most advanced courses in classroom assessment in the Caribbean. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Dr. Delisle. Don't go. I have 2 more here for you. This person says, I have 5 CSEC certificates, a certificate in methods of teaching dyslexics, and a number of years of teaching experience, and I'm interested in the Bachelor in Education Primary. What are my chances of getting into this program? And I have 1 more for you after that, but I don't want to overload you.
Yes, that's important. There are multiple routes, of course, into the Bachelor's of Education, Primary General. There are about 3 different avenues. And one of those avenues involves your experience. You will participate in an interview, and they will determine the extent to which you will have access, because of course it's also a course with what we call a clinical component where they will want to see you teaching. So I will say, if you have that experience, that worldly experience, along with your formal qualifications, go ahead and apply, and they will allocate you to one of the pathways, and they will certainly get in contact with you. So I will say yes. Great. I'm happy to see you.
And I'm going to ask you this one now. Do you have to be a teacher in order to access the postgraduate programs in education?
Right. Well, we talked about that today. I saw many questions like that. And the answer, for sure, is that you must have 2 years of continuous teaching experience, because what we're offering is an in-service postgraduate diploma of education. And that is the certification for those who want to do secondary education. In the future, we may have other options open, but currently, once you're either with the government or you're in a private institution and you're currently teaching and you have 2 years experience, we would take you in the in-service postgraduate diploma of education.
Thank you, sir. Next question has to do with academic advising. This person says, I've heard about something called academic advising. What is it? And when does it take place for the Faculty of Humanities and Education? Query?
With the Dean, I'm wondering if the Dean would like to speak on this, or if you would like me to speak. I can.
Yes. The second part of the question was, when would it be? Yes?
Yes. What is it?
Yeah. It's interesting for me to find the words to describe academic advising. But academic advising is that forum in which we get to know the students one-on-one, and we plot their academic course for the year. It ensures that you are doing the courses that you need to do, and it ensures that you graduate on time. We discuss your options, we discuss your career choices, and we try to create a program of study for you. Of course, in that discussion, we do more than just talk about courses. It's about orientation to the university. Sometimes it's about understanding what is going on in your life. So I would simply say academic advice is us sitting down with you and deciding how best we can assist you. There's an academic dimension, and there's also a personal interaction. And I think both are necessary to take you successfully through your 3 years with us. It can also involve a degree evaluation, which is an assessment of all the courses that you've done so far and what you have to do to graduate. When will it take place? It usually takes place around the middle of August. Having said that, I would use the phrase that we often hear now: the situation is fluid. This is the new normal. So we have to have some discussions as to when it would actually take place. If you join us, I think you will also be, I'm a historian, part of the first group that we have doing academic advising online. So that's something that we're all beginning to plan. So again, I can't give you an exact date, but it's reasonable to think about the middle to end of August.
Thank you very much, Dean. And you may as well stick around for this question. How do I prepare for my history degree? Is there any recommended pre-reading or prep? Clearly somebody's very eager.
Well, I am going to leave that to the head of history, although I'm a historian, but all I will say is that's a very intelligent person making an excellent choice. Sherry-Ann?
I absolutely agree. Excellent choice. As a student, hoping to enter into the history program, I would say that I'm sure you know this already, that you can prepare before entering by reading, just reading widely in the various areas of history, Caribbean history, you know, Latin American history and so forth. Do as much reading as possible. And of course, even though it's history, you keep abreast of contemporary affairs because they both have, there is this very tight relationship between what's happening now across the world and even locally, and of course history. So keep abreast of local events, current events, and you know, read. And of course, as I said before, you can enter the program with either CAPE, we prefer CAPE, but if you have CSEC grade 1 and 2 passes, then you can also enter the program.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. And we just got another question related to the history degree. And this person is asking, is a history degree useless as people make it out to be? I love it, but the career scope may be limited in Trinidad and Tobago.
I was just answering that one in the chat, but anyway, I will say what I said in the chat, that anyone who thinks that history is useless, they're sadly misinformed. In addition to the list of careers that Mr. Murray gave, history, it underscores almost every career. It can be used as a springboard for so many careers. I mean, to start at the top, our first Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was a historian. You can get into so many areas, such as so many aspects of law. Actual lawyer or paralegal, legal assistants, politicians. I mean, that seemed to be, you know, a topic of discussion now. Many of our politicians are historians, writers, authors, journalists, editors. Those are all areas, you know, that you can get into using history. Policy makers, marketing executives, information officers, so many areas. So, I mean, history is the least useless discipline. Okay, it is, sorry, Dean, but history from my perspective, it is the least useless discipline.
I want to add something. I can't help but jump in here, because I think if anybody looks at what is going on in the world today, that you cannot help but understand why history is needed but by all of us. It struck me when this whole thing started with COVID-19, everything was the scientists. And then the world erupted. And the shift focused to how do we understand how we got to this stage and how do we move forward? And history is going to be extremely important in that process. It's an understanding of ourselves and our culture and our understanding of others and their culture. So I think it's important, and I think it is at the root of almost everything that we do and every discipline that we study. So I agree, Sharian, it's the least useless subject possible.
And since this is not about me, I will keep my ideas to myself, but I completely agree. So our next couple questions have to do with the communications degree. And the first one says, is there, again, another eager beaver, glad to have you on the chat, is there specific literature that you would recommend in preparation for entering to do a communications program? Marie, who do you want to send this to?
Dr. Ford, of course.
We have the undergraduate coordinator with us, Latoya Bartholomew. Latoya, would you mind taking these comms questions?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. No, there isn't any particular literature that you would need to read to prepare for entry into the communication studies program. What I would say is that it's a bit different from what you learn at A-levels. So just come with an open mind, but be prepared when we give you the literature to read. Dr. Ford? I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Latoya. Thanks.
Well, we do have another question related to the communications degree. Would an interview be required for a mature student who wishes to do the BA in communications?
Dr. Ford?
I'd like to invite Latoya back.
Latoya again? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as I'm aware, with respect to entry into the communication studies program, these are the particular requirements. So you have your 5 CSEC passes, inclusive of English A, 2 CAPE subjects, both units, grades 1 to 3, or 2 A-level subjects, grades A to C, or you can have an associate's degree or certificate program from a recognized institution with a minimum of 2.5, with a minimum of a 2.5 GPA. I'm not sure if Mr. Bradshaw could add anything further to that.
No, but I just want to say that that's correct. I think the person is trying to find out whether we use prior learning or anything like that for entering into communications, but sadly we do not.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have another question here. This is another School of Ed question. Someone would like to find out about the PhD in education. They want to know if the program is GATE approved, what are the fees like for self-funded students, and what are the entry requirements and general length of this program for part-time students. I don't know if we would have the actual fee information available, but that is online. There's a postgraduate fee booklet that you can download and you can get the fees there. But with regard to the other things, what are the entry requirements and general length of the program? Perhaps we can discuss that.
Yes. So actually, I do have the fee requirements. We saw that question earlier. It's not much. It isn't very costly. It's a research degree. Although we've included a number of courses, you should know that there are two traditions. In Britain, a PhD tends to be by research, not by courses. But in the United States and in Canada, there are a series of postgraduate courses. So what has happened locally is that there is a blend. There's a hybrid. So in fact, you do get to do a number of courses. So again, you can always check. I don't want to call out the actual cost for the part-time program. A PhD is a terminal degree and requires a great deal of effort. Technically part-time, it will last 7 years. Typically, students require anything between 7 to 10 years to complete it part-time. To get into the PhD program, you have to present a proposal. We have determined if we have that capacity to supervise that particular proposal. Of course, you will have had relevant qualifications. So that might include a diploma in education as well as a master's in education along with a first degree. And of course, we give credit if you have a first degree with honors. If you're interested, you can come and talk to us. We would share with you as much as we can. You can tell us about your idea. Some people have written to us and we will suggest a faculty member and we can mentor you and see if we have a good match, because it's a long-term relationship and we want you to be happy and we want to be happy as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Delisle. All right, we just have a couple more questions as our time is running out. Gonna start with one related to sign language and linguistics. And the question is, how do these programs help graduates get jobs in the field?
And Dr. Roberts?
Well, I mean, how does any program help you to get a job in the field? There is a demand, and therefore I think that once the person is out having completed and is looking, the opportunities exist. I don't know that I can say or that I can make the statement that doing the particular degree is going to get you a job here. I can't make that statement, but certainly it puts you in the best position to do so.
Dr. Roberts, are there any particular jobs that people or careers that people may not necessarily have thought of when thinking of a degree in linguistics? I mean, the sign language is a bit more straightforward, but particularly linguistics.
Oh wow. The jobs for linguistics are so very varied and depend on pretty much the area of linguistics in which you specialize. So for example, I do a lot of work with the migrant community in Trinidad and Tobago, and this is in terms of teaching English as a second language. And therefore, if your background is one of sociolinguistics, you or language acquisition, obviously, you can work in that field. So it's so very difficult to say. Jessel mentioned earlier the court interpreters, but an offshoot of that would be forensic linguistics, working with specialists in writing or in speech. There are just so many areas. I don't know that I can pick one to say that would be the most frequented. In our department, I also know that we have some of our linguists who do a lot of work in endangered languages. And so that's an area that I find fascinating in terms of the Caribbean and the quantities of languages that we have that are that we are in danger of losing. Right here in Trinidad, the French Creole as a patois, as an example.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. I think it's one of those areas that, you know, people get into and then they're suddenly surprised that, oh, wow, I didn't know that this prepared me to do this. Our next questions, though, are for the DCFA. And the question is, what sets these programs in the performing and visual arts apart from those programs offered by other institutions that I know for now will remain nameless? What sets our programs apart?
I think we offer balance. Whereas some institutions may just focus on the performing aspects of the thing, I think we strike that balance between academia, practice, community engagement. I think that's what makes it exciting and present a lot of opportunities to present in either of those areas. I think that's what makes the program exciting. You have opportunity to perform, you have opportunity to engage with community, work in educational forms. You also have the opportunity to work within academia so that the balance between theory and practical becomes very dynamic. Yeah, and that's across the board for all the disciplines that we have in the department. I don't know if Jessel wants to add to that.
No, I think you said it quite well. And also too, we have our efforts now with entrepreneurship, not just at the master's level, but we're also trying to involve in our students to give them that entrepreneurship spirit. Certainly that's part of the Carnival Studies plank that you spoke about, but it's something that we're trying for all the students to do. And you're absolutely right in summarizing that we give the best of both worlds, a high level of academic progress, and very, very strong exhibiting and performance credentials. I think it's unbeatable myself.
And you answered the second question when you talked about entrepreneurship. Great. So our next question, and this may be our final question. someone says that they're excited to get started and they're wondering what to expect once they get accepted to their program. What happens next? So I don't know, Mr. Murray, who you would want to shift this to.
That's such, that goes to the breadth of our particular program. I think each department head can probably answer that differently about what would be next. The musician would say something, the people who are in languages would say something else, the film unit would say something. I think once you are particularly accepted, that first of all, we will be all lining up to congratulate you on an excellent choice. And then the specific department will then start inculcating in you what are the things which are necessary. And some of the departments have quite well-heeled orientation programs, which will help you get into the spirit of the particular discipline. So there's no one size that fits all at FHE. I think each person will lead you to the particular way and into the culture of the particular department and the wider FHE.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. And we just have 3 minutes or so left. So I think this might be a good time to invite the Dean to deliver final closing remarks. And just to remind those who are viewing this broadcast that you can still send your questions to fhe.deputy.dean.ug@sta.uwi.edu if you have any further questions that weren't answered during the course of this presentation. We'll put that email into the chat so that you'll have it available, but we will now go to the Dean, Dr. Cato, to wrap up today's session. Dean Cato?
But I can't end without connecting what is going on in Trinidad and Tobago today and the wider world to what we do in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And in the midst of all this turbulence that has embraced our societies over the last 4 months, I think it's a good time for all of us to slow down a bit, to pause and to reflect. The question is, how do we shape our future? And that's the question everybody out there needs to ask at this point in time. What are the characteristics and specialization that we must develop, study, and apply to make this world a better place? It is undeniably a critical time for all of us. It's a time to be brave, to be bold, and to be responsible in our decision making. At UWI, our strategic pillars focus on widening access to our campus, alignment with the needs of our society, and agility. Agility as we maneuver and adjust to a changing world that just cannot stand still. I want to suggest tonight that as we navigate this turbulent course, we ask ourselves what our anchor is made of. What is at our core? You can choose to be part of FHE, but I want you to understand what that means. What makes the FHE stamp different? I hope we've given you a sense of that this evening. In FHE, we have beautiful spaces, both physically and academically. We have new initiatives, we have new products, and of course, we have one of the most diverse and interesting group of disciplines and people. Add to this some very special ingredients that I am very proud of: specialized, dedicated lecturers and administrators. Students brimming over with creativity and buzzing with new ideas. However, I think the most powerful ingredient is the nature of the interaction that evolves when all of this is mixed. Our interaction with you will yield many results. I can't wait to hear about your new ideas and theories. We want to create a different understanding of who we are. We want to engage in novel approaches to life and living. We simply cannot continue like this. We want to empower you through understanding our history, heritage, and culture. It is the nature and character of this engagement that forms the FHE stamp. It is a stamp that you will make unique by adding your mix to the individual design. And this is what will make you a game changer. I really hope you join us. Before ending, I want to thank all of you for your interest, for your questions, for choosing excellence. I also cannot end without thanking marketing and communication for working with us to organize this engagement. And of course, I want to thank my FHE team for the support that you've always given me. And of course, for helping me to welcome new students to the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Thank you. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Dean Cato. Thank you to all our panelists, and special thanks to all of our attendees. Thank you for being with us this evening. Tonight's session is the last one in the series of 10 virtual open days, which started last week. Look out for any of the missed sessions, or any of the sessions that you missed, on our UWI STA YouTube channel. You can view the undergraduate admissions and the postgraduate admissions sessions, as well as sessions from other faculties. It's been a pleasure to host you. Look out for an email from us where we will share the recording from this evening and also direct you to some additional resources. From all of us here at the St. Augustine campus, we look forward very much to welcoming you onto our campus. We invite you to be UE, and remember, applications close this Friday, so join us. Thank you very much. Have a great night.